A quarterfinals matchup like no other. The All Blacks versus Ireland at Stade de France in Paris. A semi-final spot is on the line, but only one team can prevail.
I think everyone knows the stakes of what's riding on this game.
Massive challenge for this team, the biggest we faced.
We take you behind the scenes of both camps and unpack what to expect from one of the biggest games of the World Cup so far. Kia ora, I'm Cheree Kinnear and this is Beyond the Game. Welcome into the New Zealand Herald's Rugby World Cup video news show. I'm joined by New Zealand Herald rugby columnist Gregor. Now we're standing outside the Paxton Hotel where the All Blacks are staying and where they've just named their team to face Ireland this weekend. Plenty of changes and we will get into that shortly. But Gregor, we're finally here, quarterfinals time. It truly is do or die. Do you feel like there's been a lift in intensity this week?
Oh, I would very much imagine so. I think the All Blacks have got quite a good track record at this stage of the tournament. When I was here in 2007, very similar tournament. They had some easy pool games and they failed to transition into quarter-final mode and they got knocked out. First time that ever happened. So I think that's what they've learned over the years, that you've got to click that switch when you get to playoff football. They're quite good at doing it. They've got a very good quarter-final record. And you get a real feeling there's intensity, there's drive, there's ambition about this team, and very much it's a different mood to the one that you'll have experienced when they were playing Namibia in Italy earlier in the tournament.
Well, after resting a number of players against Uruguay last week, Ian Foster's reverted to his strongest side, but not without some talking points. Mark Talea misses out. He's been stood down due to disciplinary reasons. Cam Roigard, he's not managed to book himself a spot on the bench with Finlay Christie, instead getting the nod. What do you make of the calls that were made here?
Well, they've got protocol, and Mark Talea's obviously broken that, so they made a strong decision that says the team expect standards at this stage, or all stages, but here we are in a quarter-final. Look, not the first time either that's happened in a World Cup, an outside back. You're probably too young to remember that Corey Jane and Israel Dagg did something similar ahead of the quarter-final in 2011. They were both stood down as a result of that. I can't remember what happened with them, but so it's not the first time that's happened that guys have made a mistake like that and they've been put to one side. So disappointing for him. Look, also, the guy that's come in to replace him, Lester Fanganuku, is in form as well, and it was probably a difficult decision between if Talea had been available. It would have been a difficult choice between the two of them. So, look, I think they've made the right call. If they believe in their standards, they've got to uphold them. It doesn't matter how big the game is.
Well, we heard from Ian Foster earlier on his selections, and here's what he had to say.
Yeah, he breached the protocol, nothing major, but enough to keep him out of selection for this week. So, still love him. He's trained well. Happens.
How disappointing to have that happen in such an important week, though.
Oh, look, it is what it is. So it's just for us, it's pretty clean cut. I don't really want to talk about it anymore, and we've dealt with it as a team, moved on. We just felt it's horses for courses for this particular game. We just think Finlay's got an edge defensively. We think there's a lot of action likely to happen around the ruck defensively, and we've been delighted with Cam's form, and in a different type of game, it might have gone slightly differently, but this one here, we've gone for that.
Well, the All Blacks made plenty of changes to their sides throughout the pool stage of this tournament, resting players, also giving others a chance to prove themselves. But Ireland, they took a very different approach. They had most of their top players playing every one of their 4 games. What do you think between those strategies, which one do you think is going to prove to have been the best?
Well, I don't think it'll matter. It's my honest answer to these things. Everyone's trying to hyper-analyse. These guys played, these guys didn't play. I think there's probably some truth to the fact that there's a danger for Ireland that fatigue is going to hit them. It's hard for these guys to get themselves. It's more the mental energy. You've got to get up to play South Africa. You knock them over. You've got to get up to knock Scotland over. They had to get up to knock Tonga over as well, who were a real threat at this tournament, although they didn't play well. So that'd be my only thing for Ireland, is have they got that mental capacity to keep getting themselves up? Physically, I don't think that'll be a problem for them. Look, you go back to your first question about New Zealand. Look, it doesn't matter what happened in the pool stages. These guys know what they're getting into at this point in the tournament now. So will they transition into knockout mentality? I think you're sitting through there. You can feel there's an energy, there's an intensity about them. And I wouldn't have any qualms about the All Blacks finding the right mentality to play this game. So different paths that they've got here, but you're going to see 2 highly motivated teams on Saturday night.
We have to touch briefly though on that series lost to Ireland on home ground last year. It'll still be very much in the back of many Kiwi fans' minds. It left many scars for sure. The All Blacks say, though, they've evolved a lot since that game. In what areas do you think they've improved the most, and will it be enough?
Well, look, they're talking about evolution. I think it's been revolution for these guys. It's been they've fired 2 coaches, they've brought 2 new guys in. There's 9 personnel changes now compared with the team that finished the series. The 3 Barrett brothers are all in different positions to the one that they were in. Richie Mwanga is now the number 10. He was on the bench back then. You keep going through. There's changes. There's significant changes all the way through. Are they a different team? Have they evolved? Look, they've learnt the art of playing Test rugby. It starts with your pack. It starts at set piece. You've got to be physical. You've got to be dynamic at the breakdown. They understand that. They've picked a pack that can deliver on that. They've picked a guy in Geordie Barrett who has changed them entirely because they need to be physical in the midfield, but they need guys that can play with the ball. So they're right. They've talked all week about how they don't think they're the same team. They're definitely not the same team.
Well, there's plenty of stats around this match. Ireland coming off a 17-game win streak. They've never made it past the quarters. We haven't fallen out of the quarters in about 16 years, ironically, back here in France. You were here in France during that time as well. But we put that to both the teams, with history going to be made regardless of the result. And here's how they were feeling under the pressure.
It's just about the here and now, and what's gone on in the past is irrelevant to us this week. We're just trying to get better as a team, and so are they, and roll on in the competitions.
I think you learn a lot from the past, but you learn it at the time, and it becomes part of who you are, and it becomes part of us as a team. That this team's ready. We've prepared well with this in mind.
The opportunity, and with the group we have, such a special group, it's something we're chasing, something we absolutely love to do for ourselves and for the fans that are here and at home. But I can't get away from how hard it's going to be, how difficult a task it is. But it would mean the world to all of us to get to that next stage.
I wouldn't call it a hatred or anything like that. There's a definite mutual respect, 2 nations, 2 proud nations. So I'd say there'd be respect there, but happiness and pain for how the result goes.
We're excited by it. We know the size of the challenge. We know how good Ireland are, and look, they deserve all the plaudits they get. But it's playoff rugby is about who's best on the day.
And I haven't thought once about personally what the game means. It's all about the team and progressing in the competition. That's all we're thinking about. It's not about anything personal. I've had some great battles against New Zealand over the years with Ireland and the Lions, and what you learn is every game is as tough as the last, no matter what the result. And that's what we're preparing for the toughest game we've ever faced, and we're trying to put ourselves in a frame of mind that we're going to be ready for it.
What if we win? What if we go out there and start really well? And what if our set piece goes exactly how we want it? So when you start thinking things like that, and you take confidence from the hard work that's gone in and the preparation, then we absolutely go in with confidence, and it'll just be about being able to execute what we've trained out on the training pitch out there. Under massive pressure in front of a full crowd. So, and if we're able to do that and can do it consistently, then we'll give ourselves a really good shot of winning. And when we get there, we'll see how we feel.
Well, something else that I feel like really came through from talking to the teams this week is the respect they have for each other. There wasn't much trash talking, for lack of a better term there. But do you think that attitude at all is going to change when they're on the field and it's kick-off time?
Well, they definitely respect one another. They'd have to. They've had some classic matches over the last 7-8 years. Ireland have beaten New Zealand have beaten Ireland. So there's definitely an underlying respect. Is there a little bit of niggle between them? Well, I'd definitely say so. Look, Ireland have got a couple of characters. Johnny Sexton loves to talk to referees, actually loves to berate referees. He loves to chip away at the opposition. Peter O'Mahony last year said something to Sam Cane, which I think will be sticking in a few minds. So look, they'll be... I don't think they love each other, these 2 teams, but that's okay. This is Test match rugby, and you don't need to love each other. So there will be an underlying drive and ambition from both teams to unsettle the other one. I don't think that they're overly keen on each other as individuals, as groups of people, but they'll probably still enjoy a beer after the game with one another, because that's only really on the field that persists, that attitude. So, look, there's massive respect between the 2 teams.
And just so much riding on this game. You won't want to miss it. Kick-off is at 8 a.m. Sunday morning. You can follow all of the action at nzherald.co.nz. You can also follow along with live commentary from Elliot Smith on News Talk ZB, Gold Sport and iHeartRadio. Well, that's it from us for now. Really quickly though, your pick on the result?
Well, I think New Zealand are going to win it. I say bizarrely because they haven't really beaten Ireland very well in the last wee while. So yeah, no, I think they'll win it. I don't know what the score will be, but New Zealand to win.
Yeah, see how it all unfolds, and I'll be back on Sunday to unpack everything that happens in that game. We'll see you then. Thank you so much for watching Beyond the Game. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. To stay up to date with all the latest news from the New Zealand Herald, click the subscribe button below or check out one of the videos here, and head over to nzherald.co.nz for more details on these stories and more.